Hi, this is David Newton speaking. How to fill your workshop content and how you can actually get that whole job done. Stick with me. We'll get straight into this. Step 1. Compartmentalize all of your knowledge into different little blocks. Now, by doing this, you're going to be able to put different subject matter into the available slots that where it actually is more important. And that is, you could even start from the simplest tasks first and work your way through to the more complex tasks. So when you compartmentalize it and put all those different subjects and so forth, or topics into one particular area for one thing and another area for another thing, and work it out through that way, then it will be easier for you to work out what you're going to do with planning out your full seminar, workshop, or retreat event. Next, once you've actually compartmentalized that information and the main broader areas where your information sits that you're going to teach people, and there will be some clear demarcation points, what you need to do next is find the subtopics from those specific compartmentalized areas. So, say for example, you're looking at teaching a particular type of knowledge set, and it's about how to do research in XYZ, then you can say, well, here's how we go about doing the subtopics in this particular area so that you can get this result over here. By doing this, then you know which of the topics that you're going to focus on is important for creating a lesson plan for each of those different modules. And maybe in some cases, you might be able to outsource some of those different teachings of subtopics to other guest experts. So consider what you're doing, work out the subtopics, and get stuck into that. This will be a very vital session for you to work on. Guest expert speakers. Now, this can be quite useful for you in particular areas where you want to actually drill down a little bit further into the topic, and you feel that maybe your input isn't necessarily always going to be relevant. And secondly, this can actually give a credibility bridge to helping say, well, you know, I know enough about this topic to say, well, this expert over here can probably explain it better than I can, and their credibility will also be added into your workshop. So, what you need to do then is to work out which expert is going to be ideal for your particular content session that you're wanting to work on, that compartmentalized areas before, and make sure that your expert will cover what's relevant. They may be able to explain something that you take for granted in a far better way than you can yourself. So guest experts are not to be sneezed at. I believe it's important for you to have guest expert speakers that can actually, or guest expert facilitators in your workshop so that you give a different point of view and add a little bit more excitement and interest to your workshop participants. As much as possible, try practical training, and that is, make sure that your training fits some particular specific purpose. So, if you're talking about something in a generality for too long, over a long period of time, it will probably become less relevant. But if you say, okay, here's how we solve this specific problem over here, and here's how you actually go through the steps of doing so, that will be far more valuable to your workshop participants than merely talking about a more global sort of solution to that particular problem in a theoretical sense. So try as much as you can to narrow it down to specifics or specific industries or specific types of individuals, job roles, whatever the case might be. The more you actually narrow down the different solutions there, the better it'll be for those who come along to your event. They will then say, aha, this relates to me. And that's where you want them to be. It's got to be something that's going to be practical and usable right then and there, immediately after they've done the course. That's why they came along. So take it from the theoretical, apply it to a specific industry type of person, whatever career it is, what type of business it is. You know, if you're teaching a particular exercise and it might be for real estate agents, then say this is a real estate agent's course, or this applies to real estate agents for this, or real estate agents who work in the rural areas. The more specific you get, the better the result is going to be for your participants. Next, teach a specific skill. Now, if you teach skills, these are the things that people can actually remember. They can actually do the actual item at the workshop itself. You know, they can do it as a group project or do it as an individual project whilst they're following instructions from you at the front. It's something that gets their hands dirty. It's something that gets them involved. It could even be teaching them public speaking, for all I know. The practice of them doing it is going to actually convince them that they've got something here that is worthwhile. That's what they came to the workshop for. They wanted to learn how to better themselves. They wanted to learn a skill so they can get a better job or run their business better. It might be even how they can write ads to improve their business. But if you teach them a skill, you know, here's how we write headlines better. Here's the set of words over here. Here's the other different adjectives here, blah, blah, blah. Show them a skill, teach them something, teach them the theory, teach them the result, and then do a test project later on together to see if they've comprehended it. That way, they'll get something from the skill teaching session, and you will have advanced them a long way down further, and they'll be very thankful. Now, finally, after you have worked out the compartments of your knowledge, then worked out your particular subtopics and any guest speakers and what you're going to be teaching practically and the skills and so forth, what you need to do finally is to work out where those different compartments or modules go into on your 3-day or 2-day or 1-day training, whatever the case might be. You need to work out where that will fit best on a logistical level and also from an educational level for your participants. You might even have this jumbled up. Maybe your first session might start off with something fairly practical and something skills driven, and then you can analyse it down from there into the next few days. You might have an out-of-class type of session where you're going out into the field and you're then therefore trying to actually say, well, here's what we do, and then go back into the classroom after that for the next few modules, whatever is practical for your particular workshop. So you need to work out what those items are. And this can be the exciting part because this can work out what's going to be important for where your guest speakers are going to be. That might fall on one particular day or each day or a particular time each day. What particular practical exercises or skill sets are going to be taught at specific times of the day so that your audience is far more alive and ready to take in that type of education. And also gives them a kind of a breakup from just merely a lecture type of format. So you might do maybe a lecture in the morning, you might do an outside exercise in the afternoon, you might do a dinner time exercise that covers a different type of education in the evening. Now, how do you know that your teaching message is getting through to those people that have come onto your workshop, retreat or seminar? How do you really know? Is it by the smiles on their faces? Did they have a good time? You know, was it something that they've told all their friends about? Are they giving you testimonials? Well, probably none of those things, actually. What you need to do is find out, first of all, if they've achieved the objectives of why they came along. It's not just a feel-good experience. That can certainly help. But longer term, you need to find out where they sit with what they've learned. So what I suggest you do is take some feedback directly, immediately after the seminar has been completed. And then later on, a second time is to check in with them, maybe by the phone or maybe by a group event, a few weeks down the track. Whether that be 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, maybe 3 months down the track. You need to check in with them later on and find out if they're doing what they were planning to do or learn from the workshop. If they have done that and achieved specific goals, then you know you've actually got people there who have learned something valuable and applied it directly to their own life. That's what you need to consider with your knowledge that you're imparting to them, is that it's getting through. Remember, getting through here is not an easy thing because we all have our own prejudices, our own ways of doing things, our habits of doing things. So there you have it. You've done all of the preparation work that's necessary for putting your seminar or workshop or retreat together. You planned out your content. What are you going to do now? You have to sell tickets. All of the work that you've put into constructing your event is going to be meaningless unless you can get bums on seats and get people in the door paid and to pay you for running your workshop to answer their needs. So you must see the next video, which has got my special guest, Bruce Carter, where he explains how he sells millions of dollars a year worth of training courses, workshops, retreats, week-long and multi-week events, and how he sells those events over the phone and face-to-face. So you watch this particular video. This is very special. This will help you get those people in the door, paid and waiting for you to speak.